Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR Prepping. You already know what time it is, baby. Get your drink, pull up, let's talk about it. I'm still on travel and we're drinking hotel coffee and we're just gonna get into it. So today I wanna talk about practicing with our preps, re-evaluating stuff, going back through things. You know, had a situation last night where needed a medical kit, right? And then we're on travel, we have stuff, we have car kit, we have different things, but you know, get your mind thinking that when things happen, how close are items to you when you need them, right? Now, the car, if you're on travel, is pretty close, right? So not the end of the world. We actually had brought a med kit, was actually packed into my our travel bag, so no big deal. We had something very, very quick, but had a situation where we needed that, needed some burn cream, and was easily accessible quickly. But it makes you think, like, truly, what are the things that you have? What are the things that you have done in the past? And when's the last time you touched them, looked at them, went through them, made sure they worked, took stuff out of boxes? And so this particular med kit, for example, we had not taken out, and this was just a quick buy one, and we had not taken it out and actually separated stuff and made stuff actually open. So, you know, we had to go through some stuff and kind of figure out which, you know, vac sealed bags had what, but not the end of the world. But it gets your mind thinking about different things. It got me thinking about the car kit and exactly what is in the car kit, what is in the car, what if something happened, and what is in there and what would be needed to be able to make it. It's people who do go bags, evac bags, all these bags, right? Get home bags. You know, when's the last time maybe you put those things together? You put a car kit together, you put a get home bag together, you put a, you know, bug out bag together. But when is the last time you looked at that stuff, right? When have you reevaluated, looked at some videos, looked at some lists? Make sure that you still have the things in there that you want, that are needed, that they haven't expired, or there's something that needs to be updated. I mean, think about if you did kid go bags a long time ago, bag out bags for kids a long time ago, and you have, for example, underwear in there that's not even gonna fit them anymore, right? Or you have expired, you know, snacks in there, or expired, you know, hiking food, or whatever it is, right? You know, going through stuff's important. Not to mention that some stuff, as we grow, as we evolve, we realize are not needed things in these kits, in these go things, where they're just not needed. A lot of people mistakes are they stockpile, buy all the things, and they never open the things. You leave it in a box, or you leave it in the packaging and then just pack it away. And one, you don't know where it's at, or you know where it's at, but everything is packaged up. Now, some people will say, hey, they do that because they want the said item to stay as you know, clean as possible and just together as possible, and the packaging helps keep it for long term. But to me, that's just not common sense. And this goes further with your skill sets. You know, do you know how to hunt? Do you know how to fish? Do you know how to make a fire? Basic practicing things, practicing everyday survival things. That's why we tell people, hey, if you've never gone camping, go camping. Because camping, it sounds so silly, like, how could you say that? That's not real survival. That teaches you a bunch of the basic stuff. How to live a day without power, right? You're living without toilets, without power, without the everyday, you know, conveniences. Yes, you bring things and people bring stuff, and it's more of like a bougie little trip, but something as simple as just being the one responsible to light the fire, to keep the fire going. Have you ever cut wood, split wood? You know, cooked on an open flame. Have you ever cooked on a camp stove? It's a little different too. When you practice and do these things, then also you know how long things last. Let's say it's solar generators, taking them out, right? Plugging them all up, hooking them up. How could you have them in the house and then have the cords going outside to, you know, so that they can still charge on the solar panels? If you took it outside and your different brands that you have, how long does it take to drain down from the things that you want to connect to it? And then how long does it take to power it back up and get the power going? How long does it take on a cloudy day? How long does it take on a sunny day, right? And knowing those things, right? thinking that through, playing that through. Like that stuff really, really matters when you practice stuff, when you use stuff. Your lanterns, maybe you have oil lanterns. Have you ever taken the wicks out, soak them? You know, you have to soak them for a while before you light them. So soak them, get them hooked up, put some oil in there, and see really how long does it last? How long does that last? That one thing full of oil, how long does it typically last, right? It's important to know how long things will last for you before you have to recharge it or re-add to it, reapply to it, okay? Super, super important. So solar generators, regular generators, how much gas goes through? How about the cook stove and those little green 1 pounder, you know, propane tanks? How long can you cook on one of those? Just knowing that simple fact could be beneficial for stockpiling, for seeing exactly how long it lasts, for bartering, for all of that stuff, you know. Your animal feed, livestock feed, their bedding, how often are you changing it? Now, when you're taking care of an animal, that's more of something that's an everyday lifestyle, right? But maybe you're just going through the motions and you're just putting out food every day and you're putting out water and you're not really seeing how much water they're really drinking, how much food are they eating. Maybe you know how much they eat, like, hey, I put a bowl out, that's what they eat for the day, that's it. But how long truly does a bag last you of food? What happens if you had a ration for animals, right? Practicing these things and going back through things is really, really important. So I would urge you to go through your preps, inventory, see exactly what you have, exactly what you need. That helps you build your grocery list, your list for, going out and topping off and shopping. And then re-going through assessments, bags, go back through your emergency plans. Maybe that has changed. Basically going back through things and seeing, plus when you go through things, you might realize you need things. Maybe you have an emergency plan and it involved maps and you guys never got the maps, or you never went through the maps with the children so they could understand what the maps were, how to read them, whatever. Maybe there's something you wanted to put in their school bags, or that you wanted to add to something, and because you didn't go back through it, you just forgot about it, and over time you just didn't do it, okay? So it's important to go through your medical preps, to have that stuff staged and prepped and ready to go, inventories of that stuff. I can't stress just practicing. You know, a very good example of this, because it doesn't take like you have to live this lifestyle and every day you have to be out there trying to start a fire, and on the weekends you need to build a shelter and you need to do this. It's not so much that what I'm telling you to do, right? But it's like this. This is a good example. My husband was talking to me the other day. This is a perfect example. Is you have the military, right? And you have your reservists, and your reservists, they literally are like you and me. They're just normal people who work a 9 to 5, whatever. And once a weekend, and I will tell you, if that, because a lot of them don't even make it every weekend, but once a month for a weekend, they'll go and they train, and they get the bare minimum, you know, they get off the hit list for medical, you know, all the different things that they need to do to keep up on, you know, their shots and their training and their gun quals and their whatever, right? And they're staying up on this training, but it's only 1 week in a month. And like I said, a lot of them don't even do that, right? And that's all they're doing. And then we as a country expect to be able to, at a moment's notice, we just send them off, right? We just send them off and they go to war, you guys. That's crazy that they train for 1 week in a month and then we send them off to war, okay? So it's important to go through your gear, to go through your weapons, go through and do your counts of your ammos. How about your gear that you're putting on, your vests, anything like that, your other weapons, going through that stuff, inventorying, practicing, looking at it, going to the range. That stuff's important, okay? So whatever it is across the board, whatever you would consider your preparedness stuff, your lifestyle stuff, go through it. I don't care if you're just somebody who cans food, you know, and you just stockpiling food and that's kind of your focus. Go through that. Make sure that you have all the things that you need. Make sure you have your backups. Make sure that there's not other food preservation areas that you want to get into that you still need to get your stuff. Do not be one of these people who buys a canner and leaves it in the box for 2 years and hasn't touched it. You're like, you know the importance of it. You know that you're going to use it one day. But if you've never used it, and then the time comes to use it, and especially use it in a more non-traditional way, that can be very, very, you know, intimidating. And then you end up not using it, or you end up hurting somebody because you didn't practice, you never took it out, maybe it was broke, whatever, right? So it's important to practice, to play with gear, to play with your preps, to pull stuff out, make sure it works, see how it works, know how it works. It's like gardening. It's a really hard, to me, it's a learning curve, right? And every year is unique, every year is different, every season is different, and you learn something every single time. I don't care if you've been doing it the first season, you've been doing 10 seasons, you're learning something, you're changing things, every year you're adapting, and it's the same because you're practicing, you're hands-on, you're doing stuff, and you're not gonna learn stuff until you just physically do it and get your hands dirty, literally, and start doing stuff, right? That's how we learn. And it's the same thing with those military people, right? They go for one weekend and they're going to learn on the job, obviously, when we send them to war. That's when they're really going to get their training. But if they never got any kind of training, you know, imagine their success level. But at least they've gotten something. They just touched stuff and went through stuff and got training once a weekend, took a little bit of time, and that makes all the difference, okay? So encourage you to go through your things, pull things out, go through them. If you are like an expert and you're like, I have go bags, I have this, I have that, re-go through that stuff, re-go through your car kit, watch some videos, see if there's anything extra that you want to add to it, or something that you've realized through experience is just not needed. It's just not needed, and why do you have it? And that's it, right? And so you continue to make these things better, and make sure that they work, and that they're going to work when you need them to work, right? And that you know what you're doing when you need them to work. You're not trying to train yourself how to do something with your kids sitting there scared because something's happening, and they're looking at you like mommy and daddy are going to figure it out, but mommy and daddy are like literally trying to figure it out on the spot how to do something so simple, possibly, okay? So take the time, practice, re-go through things, re-skill yourself, freshen up on training, go through, you know, inventories, reevaluate stuff. It's one of the most important things that you can do as somebody who prepares, right? Homesteads. It doesn't matter what you want to label yourself or call yourself. This is important in all facets of life, okay? So anyway, I hope you guys are well. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care. Bye.